This podcast was created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify.
For me, writing is a canvas for my thoughts. I guess I like to believe I see the human body differently from how the average person sees it. So, in order for everyone to see what I see, I have to write. It's also meditative. When I enter into a creative flow, time stops, the world stops, and all I can hear is my thoughts.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Closet Writer Chronicles. I'm your host Sangeeta, aka the Moody Marshmallow. You just heard our guest for today, Roshni Raju Palepu. Roshni is the founder of M.A.D Private Limited, a content production company focused on the medical and healthcare market. She has a bachelor's in human health sciences, a master's in sonology, and a certification in neuroscience in marketing. As a performing dancer and an artist, Roshni found her passion in simplifying medical content and presenting it in a creative medium. Tune in to hear Roshni talk about her company, creative influences, motherhood, and much more. Welcome back to the Closet Writer Chronicles. This week, I have with me a really interesting guest. I have Roshni Raju Palepu, who's into medical content, which is super fascinating. And as I mentioned in her intro, so welcome to the show, Roshni.
Thanks, Sangeeta.
It's so good to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, likewise. And, just to kind of dive right in. So it's really fascinating to me that you've kind of found a way to merge creativity and medical content, which is like, I don't know, it's very intriguing. So I think the first thing I want to ask you is, what is your earliest memory of writing and when did you realize that this is something you enjoy?
The earliest memory that I have, I think, was when I was in like third grade or something. So I was born in America and I went to a private school where I was like the only little Indian girl in the class. And so I never used to talk much. I was very introverted. And we were given this Native American Studies creative project. And I got super into it and all the details and came up with all these fancy Native American names and wove a Hindu mythology story into a Native American tale. And I remember submitting this, and my teacher, Mrs. Blackwell, was like, "Oh, well done, Roshni. You were fantastic. Come to the front of the class." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is the first time they've even said my name." Like, I was so excited. And then they printed my little story in the school magazine, and I had to like do a little illustration for it. And I think that's the first time I got like some recognition for something, for anything that I had done in school, but the recognition came from writing. So I was super excited about it. And yeah, anytime I had any project that required like writing a poem, I love writing poems, thanks to Dr. Seuss. And anything that required creative writing or imagining that I was something else, I think that's when I started just loving writing. But I'm really bad at the book report stuff. I have to say that. Never enjoyed book reports.
I mean, well, I actually did enjoy book reports because I got to read and kind of put that as a project. I mean, sometimes it was a little, I guess, frustrating because teachers would want you to be, I guess, more technical, but I mean, it is part and parcel, but I still had fun with those projects nonetheless. You technically work with medicine, which I find really interesting. But before we get into that, like, I want to ask, since you mentioned, like, Dr. Seuss and kind of, like bringing together like two worlds of, like the story you wrote, what are stories that have, impacted and inspired you? And the reason I'm asking this question is because I believe like, even if you're a creator or even otherwise as people while growing up, like there are always like these certain stories that do stay with us in some form or some way, be it, books, films, TV shows, whatever they might be. So what are those stories for you?
So like stories wise, I'm a Disney baby. And so all of these Disney stories are all about if you dream it, you can live it. You can become a princess if you want it so bad. You can wish upon a star and it can come true. So that part of my imagination is very, very much active even to this day. So Disney did have a big impact. Then there's this movie, which I don't know if you've heard about. It's called Osmosis Jones.
No, I
It's
have
a
not.
movie about the human body, and that
Oh,
stuck with me for a very long time because the main character is a cell of the human body, and he's trying to save the human body from pathogens. And I
oh.
think I derive a lot of my storytelling for the human body from this one movie that I have binged watched like some 25,000 times. And so that's like in terms of inspiration from a story. But I've had a lot of other inspiring factors for like getting into this kind of a bridge between medicine and creativity.
Oh, no, that's really fascinating to know. I think for me, the only like when you were talking about the movie, the only content that struck me while growing up, where I even saw anything about the human body in, I guess, cartoon form, was the Magic School Bus, which they used to
Oh
play.
yeah, I love Magic School Bus
Yeah.
and Bill Nye the Science Guy. I
Oh
was big
yeah.
on those, obsessed. And then I think on Pogo there was this M.A.D. or something where they would do
Yeah.
these.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to like those too.
Art guy
And
Rob,
then
shout out.
yeah, exactly. And then I think so that was like early on. And then by like 2011, 12, like YouTube started kicking in, right?
Mhm.
And so everything you'd watch was on YouTube. And by then I was also in medical school. So when I was in med school, I would watch stuff like Armando on YouTube. He has his own
Mm.
channel, Armando Hasudangan. I can't pronounce his last name. Minute Physics,
Hmm.
Sketchy Micro, ASAP Physics. These are
Ooh.
all, sorry, ASAP Science. These are all like science-based YouTube channels that do like whiteboard animation to simplify science and make science fun. So I used to like I can't say used to, I still watch these channels. I still like to see how they do their whiteboard animations and how they simplify complex topics into like little short little bursts of creativity.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds really. I think I'm definitely gonna check out some of those channels because it's just fascinating that you can present, knowledge in such a way, especially something people consider, I guess, in a way as dry as medicine, because I think people can be fairly intimidated by the content as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
It's a nice it's it's a skill for sure to
yeah.
make it more fun and interesting.
But yeah, then, having said that, how did you decide to start Med Bites? And, what has that journey been like till now from, an idea to a startup to now, being fairly settled in with the business and, doing what you do?
So I said I was inspired by these YouTubers, right? I wanted
Yeah.
to be a YouTuber. I really wanted to be a YouTuber. So I was a TA in med school for behavioral
Okay.
science and macro. And so I would, for my classes and stuff, I would come up with these like little doodles and stories and like Kim Kardashian references
Oh,
and
wow.
to help us like mnemonics. Like there's so much to memorize. Like mnemonics are the best way, and coming up with stories are the best way to remember the number of things you have to remember in medicine.
Okay.
So I started in med school like this. I used to come up with these like little doodles and stories and come up with, and I guess I do that in dance as well. I like come up with a story to remember how the
Mm.
next steps and all. It's just a way I remember things. And so when I came back to India, I had so many people asking me like basic medical questions, and they just
Okay.
didn't understand. Like I was like, how do you not know this? Like, isn't this common sense? And I realized that people really like like people wanted to know more, and they just wanted it to be explained straightforward without fancy words. Like just say it straight, or like say it in a way that I understand. Talk to me like
Mm.
I'm 2 years old, you know?
Mm.
um and so that's when I started. I was like, okay, I want to do a YouTube channel where I do whiteboard animation like these YouTubers that I was watching. I'm doing some preliminary videos, and my dad saw them and he's like, so you're just going to put your content up on the internet for free? And I was like, yeah, I guess that's what YouTubers do. And he's like, why do you want to make money? I was like, yeah, obviously. It was, then start a business. It's going to take you forever to make money off of your content, and content is king.
Hmm.
So I was like, I don't know 2 cents about business. I'm a science kid. I'm a medical. I don't know anything about business. I haven't done accounts or any of that. So he was like, okay, if you want to know like the 101 of basics, there are 3 words you need to know, and this is what you need to live by: sell, deliver, collect.
Okay.
And with these 3 words, I have a functional running business for 5 years. I sell my product, I deliver what I promise, and I collect the rewards. As simple as that.
No, but that's really interesting, to, I think, just come up with the idea and to actually then implement it and do it. But like, I mean, I'm imagining you would have had like starting trouble, right? Just in terms of like, how do you approach like clients, like, especially in the early days, how would you approach someone and how would you, I guess, sell yourself in terms of what you do?
No, I had such a difficult time. So when I came into the market, I was like super naive.
Hmm.
And I thought that, oh my God, I have the best product in my hands. I'm so smart. I was also much younger. And so I was like
Mhm.
super like full of life and zeal. And so I would go there and I would like say, I can do this whiteboard animation for you. I can simplify it. And then literally the market's what slapped me across the face and forced me to change the direction of my business to what it is right now. So I started off with wanting to simplify medicine for non-medicals.
Okay.
And then I realized that doctors actually don't want to simplify medicine for non-medicals. There's no
Fair enough.
market for that. So that had to become something that was more of what that's my passion. That's something that
Hmm.
I do on the side when I have time, I don't have client work, and I write medical content for non-medicals. But then what I realized was major, that was much more difficult and what was much more needed was for doctors to write a prescription,
Okay.
they need to know more about the medicine. And
Hmm.
so pharmaceutical companies send sales reps to doctors' chambers to explain what these medicines are and to get the doctors to sign the prescription, to write that name in the prescription. Now, people's attention span started decreasing.
Mhm.
People don't have enough time to learn about new products when they're being churned out because of big pharma, like left, right, and center. So many products to learn that the sales reps were also, well taught about it. So that's where my videos came in handy. I worked with a lot of pharmaceutical companies in Chennai and South India, and I helped them explain their their drug to doctors and to their sales staff. And I helped explain diagnostic tools to their own employees, like SOPs. And then I realized that, and then there were, of course, a few projects where I actually explain it to the clients, to the customers as well. But that's where we are. That's where we thrive. Our bread and butter comes from the pharma industry and explaining what medicines are about and what they do, how they're made, why you should take them, what are their contraindications, and putting this in this beautiful animation that's not a boring, drab brochure or PowerPoint. It's definitely gets the doctor's attention compared to your usual boring presentation. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be, I mean, you'd be more attentive to something that's, I guess, audio visually stimulating in a sense, as compared to someone just coming in and trying to explain something with a lot of jargon, I would suppose.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so that's really cool. But having said that, again, with medicine, have you ever faced, any like misconceptions regarding what you do with med bites? And can you share any of those?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. The name itself, Med Bites, half the people think I'm in nutrition or like lifestyle or give some like diet advice. Med
Okay.
Bites, oh, talk to me about food. But the name Med Bites is from delivering bite-sized chunks of medical content. So generally, medical content is vast, it's complex, it's hard to digest, it's bitter and boring. But Med Bites gives you short bursts of content that's simple, fun to watch, easy to comprehend, palatable. Bite-sized chunks of medicine, Med Bites. So that was one of the biggest issues that I faced with my company. Um, and then yeah, I think that's the biggest one. The other one is like, of course, I get caught in the web of medical marketing. So
Uh-huh.
in India, you're not supposed to market medicine, but you can educate. So hence we are a content production company. We don't
Right.
market. We
Right.
are educating. We produce content.
Hmm.
So that's another misconception that I always have to face. On the other end, I'm saying on the business side, but in the
Mhm.
and then the friendly non-business side, it's definitely the name.
Yeah, that's really funny that, oh, like you say that, oh, I run a company called MedBites, and someone's like, oh, so are you into like diet and
Yeah.
nutrition? That'd be really funny if someone says, like, can I come to you with like my dietary problems?
I
Like,
literally say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's all I know how to say. I know nothing about diet and nutrition and stuff.
I mean, hey, it could be a new business avenue for MedBites to check. You never
Yeah,
know.
why not? Hey, why not?
There's another video coming up soon on that.
Sure, why
but
not?
but yeah, continuing on that line, you said like when you came, you realized that people weren't like didn't understand like basic medical concepts and possibly were even, I would assume, because I've seen this with a lot of people, there is a general fear also, like just because people are intimidated when they hear, or when I guess they try to hear someone explain something to them, and if it's not explained in the simplest of terms, it can be really scary for someone, like, oh my god, what are you telling me about, so on those lines, what are like fears you've seen among people regarding healthcare and medicine, and are there any resources people can really just look at to have more awareness regarding this, like say someone who just wants like a basic understanding of maybe certain medical conditions or healthcare in general?
So, I mean, I think what, in terms of misconceptions and fears that people have, uh, people don't understand just how amazing their bodies are. Our bodies are resilient, strong machines. If you knew just how many diseases and pathogens we fight on a daily basis and how small problems are addressed on a regular basis silently within our body, you'd be amazed. The problem is when we think we know better than our own body or don't take the effort to learn more about our bodies. And so when I create MedBites content, I always end the video with know your body, love yourself. Because only if we know and understand how fantastic our bodies are, and we invest the time and energy and effort to take care of it, can we reap the benefits of our efforts and thus love ourselves
Yeah,
and
true.
enjoy our lives. So I think that's the fundamental fear and misconception, is just the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, in terms of any resources people can look at to have more awareness, yeah. Um, so there's this Instagram channel that I follow, and I have been following for almost 5 years now. It's fantastic. It's at medbites underscore official. Check it out. Lots of fun medical content out there for you to know more about your bodies. Simplified, fun, interesting, colorful, not drab. It's awesome.
No, but I do but I have to say I do vouch for those videos because I've seen some of them where I watched this video on sleep apnea because I actually didn't understand what that was, and I watched one of your videos and I was like, oh, is this what it actually is? And I think there was another, and there were a bunch of videos you've done, like say on Alzheimer's, dementia, and even in fact the videos you did during the pandemic on corona, which was actually really helpful. And you put out some content regarding that. So it was just helpful in terms of understanding certain things, at least for me personally. Um,
I'm
but
so happy to
having,
hear that. Thank you.
yeah, but having said that, what was work like during, the pandemic with MedMites, considering healthcare was such a big topic of discussion and, everyone was just like, oh, medical workers, this, that, everything. So like, what would you say was the role of, I guess, your company in terms of supporting medicine, or just in terms of work? Like, what was that like?
So it's really ironic that even though we were in a medical related pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
um, my medical side completely plummeted.
Oh.
Um, Healthcare workers were overwhelmed, were
Mm.
scared themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and because of lack of footfall, didn't have the funding to really push medicines or push medical content. So the requirement for marketing medicine, which as it is, like, when it comes to marketing medicine, or like talking about pushing a medicine or pushing something, spreading awareness, it's usually the last priority, because medicine is all about saving lives. This is the last priority, educating lives. So when it came to the pandemic, everyone was all hands on deck, and a lot of my clients pretty much had to like just put things on pause and say, hey, sorry, we don't have the funds to allocate towards our marketing budget or our content production budget. We need to put all hands on just surviving, right? We have to make sure that our employees are healthy, and we're healthcare workers, and it's all hands on deck. So the pandemic with MedBites was actually tricky, and a company is like a ship. So you have to just figure out a way to keep sailing forward. So during the pandemic, when I wasn't able to get enough medical clients for multiple reasons, I had to move into a side stream with a spin-off of MedBites that I like to call Media Bites. And I worked with a bunch of non-medical companies and organizations. For example, I handled the Marcom for 4 to 5 YPO chapters. I worked with an events company that I think everybody has heard about, Puffalope. I did a lot of their collaterals and videos. Sweet Spot, their logo, Sunny Bee, a fantastic music artist, Surya, Giri, Loyal Textile, Earth Sense. Like Earth Sense Farms. I have done a lot of non-medical projects because I had to. You have to stay afloat. And to be honest, the experience was exhilarating. I got to try outputs and styles that I could have never done with medical clients, because non-medicals are generally more flexible and they like to experiment. So with that, we were able to broaden our capabilities as a company, our output styles as a company. We got to learn a lot more. So even though in terms of the medical side being quite sad, like really sad in terms of the input that we could get from the medical side during a time when you would think that people would want to know more about medicine. Even though we didn't get that, we had a lot of learning through a non-medical avenue, and I'm grateful for it.
No, and it's amazing you were able to pivot also and kind of, move into like other opportunities. But do you think then that's like a parallel stream you'd follow now with maybe, I mean, we're still in the whole pandemic situation, but with things hopefully maybe getting back to normal, maybe hopefully this year or next year, do you think you'd again just purely go back to sticking to medical content, or would you parallelly be doing media bites as well?
As I think as of like mid 2021, I pivoted right back. Once I realized that my mainstream is back, and this is the new norm. I think we've got a new pandemic norm. I think medical companies also got their stride back, and we also started, changing our ways thanks to our exposure to the non-medical clients. We changed our style and strategy to work in a different way for medical clients. And with that, we were able to pivot back into the mainstream. And now I'm full medical again. When I get a non-medical client, I never say no, because I don't really market myself as a non-medical company. So when one comes my way, it's usually because of a referral, or because of a long-term relationship, or just because they've seen my work and they want me to do it. So when it comes my way, I say, yeah, let's try it. Let's do it. I don't want to say no, but it's not something I actively send my sales team to go out and try to bring in.
No, that's really interesting. And it's pretty cool that, I mean, first of all, the fact that you're doing like medical content is very interesting. And then the fact that you managed to pivot also like during the pandemic and do other things is like pretty cool.
A lot of companies had to just figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, but you did, which I think is really amazing, and more power to you for that. But I know you're also like with writing, you're also into music. You learned to play the violin, and you're also a dancer, a very good dancer, because I have seen you perform. So like I want to ask, with all these creative pursuits you have and creative interests, obviously that's influenced in some capacity what you do with medical work. What have the main takeaways been for you from like your creative work to apply to, I guess, what you do with medicine?
It's surprising you asked that. I like this question a lot because you think, sometimes when you're young and you're trying a bunch of random stuff and trying to learn a bunch of stuff, you're going to think to yourself, when am I ever going to use this? And when I learned violin and when I danced Kuchipudi, I was like, I can never use this. But the funny thing is, in my job today, I have to know music to figure out a background score. And when I studied IB music in school, I was like, I'm never going to use this, but I do. I need to know what moods would be the appropriate moods or the instrumentation for what type of video I'm trying to deliver. And that's one of the cutting. I think that's one of our unique factors of MedBites. We're really particular about picking our audio score for each of our videos. So that's one. I mean, music, violin, it comes in handy. Video, I have to do audio editing. And so like music definitely did help me out in my career. When it comes to dance, you'd think, how can you bring dance and expression into animation and creative writing? And you need dance to come up with a storyboard.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have to figure out what each character is going to do, like a choreography, before the video is produced.
Interesting.
So I need to sit there, and even like sometimes when I have some of my complicated projects have expressions, the characters need to emote, and when they're bacteria, how do you show a bacteria having emotions, and how do you show these expressions? So I'll be sitting in my office with my animator facing me, and I'll be like raising my eyebrows to show different types of expressions and how to convey it in a two-dimensional character, so that there's an emotion you can evoke from bacteria in your body or probiotics in your body. Yeah. So it's really strange how I'm able to bring in, I didn't ever imagine it to be this case, but you can. I mean, I did end up bringing in my violin music, IB music background, plus my dance, Kuchipudi expressions and Navarasa and all into my work on a daily basis.
Oh, that's amazing. And do you think there's been that exchange vice versa? Like, is there anything from medicine you've learned that you've implemented your creative pursuits, or has that just been too boring? Like, no, there's nothing from here.
The vice versa rarely happens. No, I don't think I bring in any of my maybe in terms of like my fitness. I know how my body works, and I know what's the right thing to eat to get the best energy when I'm preparing for a program. Like I kind of, that maybe my medical background comes in there, but that's also from a lot of experience just dancing for the program. So I wouldn't say content-wise, medical content has really come the other direction. It's usually the
No, because I had another guest on here, Samyukta Vibhu, and we were talking about financial literacy, and she was talking about how it kind of finance actually helped her in terms of her creative pursuits and just being more disciplined, and the whole concept of compounding, like do a little every day to get better. So she was saying how she took back that for her writing.
That I actually heard that podcast too, and kudos to her. That's a fantastic link that she was able to find. But unfortunately, medicine has not served me in my creative space as well.
You never know. You might have an epiphany in the future, and suddenly you might be like,
we never know. It may have. Maybe it's too soon to tell.
Maybe, yeah. You never know. So yeah, I mean, shifting gears a little bit now. You became a mother last year, which was like incredible. And I know how happy, and I know how happy you were, when you had your son, who's going to be a year old soon. What has your experience been like with, becoming a parent and now, being one? And, what are things that people don't tell you that you wish they did about, becoming a mother and being one?
Okay, well, first of all, I like to say that I became a mom when I had MedBites. MedBites is not baby, but my son, if he hears this, will kill me. So I had a real baby of my own in April. and oh, he's wonderful. The experience is being a mom is fantastic. It definitely is. The whole journey, I guess, yeah, it is fantastic, but it's been a roller coaster ride. Okay. I mean, the pleasure of being a mom is immeasurable, is smile, and I can go on and on. And I'm sure you've heard all the fruitful stuff of being a parent, but it's certainly tough. Like the
Yeah.
sleepless nights, the aches, the pains, the changes. Definitely tough, especially if you want to balance a startup in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's when the real challenge happens, because usually you nap when the baby naps. But for
Hmm.
me, when the baby naps is my chance to call my client, because it's
Yeah.
silent and I don't have a baby crying in the background.
Hmm.
So I didn't get as much rest as I really needed to.
Hmm.
Um, so it was tough, definitely tough. But now things have, now he's a little bit older and he's somewhat more stable and predictable. He's a little dude. So I'm able to kind of balance myself a lot more now. I think there was a second question you had
Yes.
asked.
What are things that you wish someone, had told you when you were becoming a mother? Or now that you are one, that, you're like, okay, I would probably tell this to someone who's becoming
Okay,
a mom.
this is I'm gonna cut deep with this one.
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
I wish that people had told me that sexism is real, because when I
Mhm.
became a mom,
Mhm.
I had my first face off, my first experience with real sexism of me being
Okay.
a girl.
Hmm.
I would say I'm a closet feminist. I don't like
Mhm.
come forth with my strong beliefs, but I
Fair
do
enough.
believe that oh, that everyone is equal and you should be rewarded for your hard work, time, and energy, regardless of your gender.
Sure.
This is something that I always advocate and I truly strongly believe.
Definitely.
You can call it what you want,
Hmm.
but when I admitted I was pregnant to my clients, I was and no one knew because all my meetings were online. And so my bump was under the screen. And when I did actually admit it, the reaction wasn't as excited. It was more like concern, like, oh no, what's going to happen to our work? And so I reassured them that, hey, I'm not gonna quit on you. I am to my word. If I tell you I'm going to deliver something, I'm going to deliver it on time.
Yeah.
Um, and then right around the cusp of after I gave birth, so I gave birth in April, and my contracts were supposed to be renewed somewhere June, July. Um, when it came to renewing my contracts, there a lot of my clients dropped me. Clients who
Okay.
had been with me for about 3 years suddenly backed out
Mhm.
with no explanation. I mean, I delivered all their work on time, I did everything right, but suddenly they backed out. So I ended up calling a few of them and saying, "Hey, did I do something wrong? What happened?" They're like, "No, no, no, you didn't do anything wrong. You're still fantastic. It's just, we figured now that you're a mom, you're not going to have time to work."
Oh,
I'm like,
wow. Okay, then.
joke's on them. I still worked in my maternity leave and I'm full time back at work. Joke's on them.
Yeah, but that's no, but that's incredible, and more power to you. And I think this is a very real issue, which I'm sure a lot of new moms have gone through and still go through. That whole debate, but because it is a challenge to, of course, balance everything, and it's important to even especially get support from your peers at work and professionally, even from whoever is working with
Definitely
you.
a challenge. It's not at all easy to balance the two, and anybody who tells you it is lying.
Yeah.
I literally drowned in the middle, and then I'm so lucky I have such a supportive team at work that just
Mhm.
understands when I say, "Dude, my kid threw up on me, I gotta go." Like you
Mhm.
can't avoid these things.
Yeah.
They have my back, but at the same time, to be categorized as you're a mom now, so
You
you're
can't
in that
work.
bucket. You can't work. Your intelligence, your competence, everything's kind of nullified now that you're a mom. That was what kind of hit hard for me. And that I wish someone had prepared me for that, because I was very naive to that. I just figured baby in one hand, briefcase in the other, the world is my oyster, I got this. And no, it was actually much harder than I expected.
And you have so many, I think, women breaking that image now, in terms of, having kids, but still being so good at what they do professionally. And, hopefully, someday in the future with at least, our generation, we'll be able to make that change to some degree. It's a slow start for sure. It's a ripple effect, but hopefully, we'll get there in sometime at some point in the future. Hopefully our kids won't have it as bad as maybe we
really
have it.
hope so. I like deep down, I really do hope that people give women a chance for their actual competence rather than what their role biologically is.
Also, to clarify, I'm not a mother, because I said our kids, and I feel like people on the podcast might suddenly think I'm a mom. And I'm like, no, I'm not a parent. So just to clarify.
Best aunt in the world. That I have to say that to the podcast audience.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
My Sangeeta is my baby's aunt, or Jane, so to speak, and she's the best aunt in the world. So even if she doesn't have, yes. She's awesome.
I try. I don't know if Roshni's son will agree to this statement in a couple of years, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, now we're kind of, coming to the end of this interview, and we always end with these last two questions. So the first one is, what are your aspirations and what are you looking forward to in the near or even distant future?
I think in the near future, let me just say my aspirations. I really, really hope and dream that my company, M.A.D, becomes the #1 medical content production company in India. Like, I so badly want this. I want anyone in healthcare to desire to be affiliated with M.A.D as a brand. I think we should be able to do anything related to healthcare under one roof, anything related to like medical content and marketing and events and stuff like that under one roof. So I hope it happens. There's a long way to go for me to make this happen, but I really badly want it, and it's my dream. I just hope it happens.
Yeah, and I think it will. You're really working for it, and you do some wonderful work. I've worked with you once, so I know that you're very dedicated and sincere and good at what you do. So, hopefully that day will come.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah. And what are you looking forward to?
I just hope that we can get out of this pandemic, man.
That's true. That is so true.
Get out, travel, our friends again, just have a cup of coffee without a mask on. I just want things to come back and some sense of normalcy. That's really what I'm looking forward to.
Yes. And fingers crossed for that. We really hope we get there soon enough. But yeah, last question. What is a piece of advice or learning you'd like to share with people? It can be creative, professional, or something you've just really learned in life and you wish more people were aware of.
I'm the one who needs more advice than me giving advice. But,
okay, something you've learned.
I guess I'll say I'll bounce off of my company's philosophy. So I'll say, take small bites. It's tough to finish an entire pie in one go. So take small bites. You'll finish your pie. Small steps, you'll make your way to the top. Try not to compare yourself with others around you. Strive to be one step ahead of where you were yesterday, and that's progress.
Oh, it's lovely. And on that lovely note, we've now come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much for being here, Roshni. It was
Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. The pleasure was all mine. It was so wonderful chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, same. I said same here. I really enjoyed. Thank you so much.
So that was my conversation with Roshni Raju Palepu. I had a lot of fun recording this and really got some insight on medical content and being a new mom. Closing this episode with a poem written and narrated by Roshni. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you on March 20th with a new guest and a new chronicle to share. Wishing all you wonderful ladies a happy International Women's Day. Talk soon!
The journey of motherhood is a wonderful thing, but who can remember the growth of an offspring?
In your womb from week 1 to 38, not many know what happens date by date. The first trimester from week 1 to 12 is very complicated to explicitly delve. Basically, the heart, brains, and organs begin to form, as well as the spinal cord, nerves, legs, and even arms. Week 13 to 27, the second trimester, eyebrows, eyelashes, and fingernails begin to enter. As your baby's arms and legs begin to move, you feel it wiggle to its own groove. Kidney function is soon to follow as the eyes open and mouth swallows. You will certainly notice the increased pelvic pressure as your little one grows into its last trimester. The third trimester includes the final touches. Bones harden and you feel all the nudges. As your baby twirls its way into delivery position, it gets prepared for its earthly admission. With a loud wail, your baby makes its presence, inviting a bountiful of blessings and presents.